The Miami Heat did it again. They won the NBA draft. They made two great selections during the draft process, but once the draft ended, their night kept going as they went out and signed two more players that went undrafted. We'll break down who all four of the players are and how they're going to benefit playing for this Miami Heat organization right now on this episode of Heat Digest. So let's get to it. Miami wins the draft again. So we had our first selection, which was the 15th overall selection, and we used it on Kellman, which we'll break down in just a second. But I want to break down why I throw the again in there for the title. The sense is that year after year, season after season, this Miami Heat team acquires, yes, they have Jimmy Butler, yes, they have Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and a bunch of other role players. But again, those role players, the majority of them usually go undrafted or they go late in these first and second rounds where players really get overlooked at these point in the drafts. Now, the Miami Heat do a great job not only drafting players at not a top 10 selection, as we usually don't have a top 10 pick in the draft, but again, they do such a great job selecting great talent in the middle or late ends of these drafts, as well as going out and getting great value after the draft actually ends and these players go undrafted. It happens year after year, and it is a common occurrence for Miami to do this year after year. So let's start with our first draft pick, which was the 15th overall in this year's draft. And again, it was Kellman Ware. Kellman Ware is a 7-foot center out of Indiana who can shoot the three-point shot over 40%. Okay, his averages his past season, he only played 2 years in college. The first one was at Oregon. He only started in 6 of the 30 games he played in. He didn't play a lot, only about 15 minutes per game. Not great stats. Last year, drastically different. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 1.5 assists. Started in all 30 of the games he played in. 58.5% from the field, 42.5% from behind the three-point line, 63.5% from the free throw line, which was a dip from his first year at Oregon, I should say, where he shot above 70%. But again, let's focus on the wins here. He's 7 feet tall. He's going to play the center. He has ridiculous length with a ridiculous wingspan. He has the ability to not only alter shots, but block shots around the rim when he protects the paint. On the offensive end, he is a lob threat every single time down the floor. It doesn't matter if he's the only guy on the floor, he is still a lob threat. He could be playing 1-on-5 and he could throw himself lobs off the backboard because of his ability to jump, his ability that he has with his God-given ability in the sense that he is already 7 feet tall and his wingspan is ridiculous. He is going to be a great player. And then if he gets lost on the offensive end and no one can find him in the sense of that he gets lost in the corner, if he's found with the basketball, he's going to be able to knock down that three-point shot at a high clip, which is going to be outrageous due to the fact that he's going to be doing so much else on the basketball floor. I think this is a great pick. We got the center, we got the big man we needed to put next to Bam Adebayo, allow Bam to move back to the power forward position, where now we're going to unlock even more of Bam's game. This is a plus pick by the Miami Heat. I absolutely love this pick. Tremendous pick. And it was only the first pick of the night as it continued. And with the 43rd pick that we had, we swapped. So Atlanta and Miami flipped 43 and 44 per sources. This is a tweet from Adrian Wojnarowski, the one and only. And then the Miami Heat posted this on Twitter for the 44th overall pick, saying this: official. The Miami Heat have acquired the draft rights to Pelle Larsson, selected 44th overall, and cash considerations from the Atlanta Hawks in exchange for the draft rights to Nikola Jurkic, selected 43rd overall, in a three-team trade involving the Houston Rockets, in which Atlanta also sent AJ Griffin to Houston for the 44th pick in the draft. Okay, so few moving parts here, but again, what really matters is that Pelle Larsson lands in Miami, and again, another home run of a pick. Now, we already went over Kellman Ware. Pelle Larsson, 6'5", can play the shooting guard, can play the point guard, can handle the basketball. He is going to be a problem. And now we're going to go over the stats, and you guys are going to think this kid is a marksman from three-point range, and you're not wrong. But again, let's quickly go over him. 36 games played. He started in all of them. He was one of the key players on a great team in Arizona. He averaged just under 13 points at 12.8, 4 rebounds, 3.7 assists per game, 51.9% from the field, just under 52%. Overall, a great shooting splits when you're shooting that much, when you're that key of a piece on the offense on the team of Arizona. And then you go on 42.5% from behind the three-point line. Again, a great shot percentage, as well as 75% from the free throw line. Another dip as he shot over 80% for his career in college, and he did play all 4 years, I believe, if not 3. But again, Pelle Larsson, 6'5", 208 pounds from Sweden. He's going to be a great player for this Miami Heat team. He's going to play the 1 and the 2. I think he's going to get legitimate minutes right off the start of the season. I don't think he's going to be starting. I don't think he's going to be the 6th man. But again, I don't be surprised if he's on the floor a bit more than you expect. He plays an overall game of basketball. I know the total rebounds and total assist numbers are down here, but again, you got to realize he's playing the college game. He's playing with in almost a platoon system in Arizona where they're playing 8 to 10 guys a game. So he's not playing like 40 minutes a game. He's playing 30 minutes roughly a game, and that's time split. We get to the end of that game and we need him. He's playing the rest of the game out. He's not really coming out. I will say his best game was against Utah. He had 27, 8, and 7 in a game that ended 105-99. If you think that's like the lowest scoring game ever because you only watch the NBA, college basketball does not end in 100 points plus games a lot. It's not very consistent when that happens. It's usually one team scores 100, the other team scores like 60. You see that with Kansas and Kentucky and Duke when those years when they have just a preposterous team. But again, it doesn't happen a lot. For him to be at the helm of an offense that is able to put up 105 points and he has 27, 8, and 7, he's a hell of a player. And the reason I said you guys are going to jump at the fact that he's a three-point marksman, yes, he's a great three-point shooter. I will not argue that. Larsson is, again, a marksman, or pretty damn close to, if not. But his bounce, he has ridiculous legs. He can get up and drop. You put anyone in the basket with him. He had some dunks at Arizona that make you just like stop the video that you're watching and just kind of look around to see if anyone else saw it. It really is ridiculous the amount of bounce this kid has, and I can't wait to see how he plays. I feel like he's a glorified Mac McClung, and I mean that with all due respect. Mac McClung obviously still averages 30.5 points or 35.5 points in the G League in the just under the NBA. He wins the dunk contest whenever they put him in it. I think he has that level of bounce with just more of an offensive game, and I can't wait to see how he fits in Miami. I think he's going to I genuinely think he is going to play a decent amount of minutes, despite how loaded the 1, 2, and 3 positions are in the Miami Heat organization. So those are both of our draft picks. Now we have 2 more players that we acquired that went undrafted. And again, this is just another example of the Miami Heat just being so good at what they do. He's a Florida Gator, a previous Florida Gator, number 0 to the league. Congrats on ZP on signing a 2-way. Obviously, they're referring to a 2-way contract where he'll play for the Skyforce as well as with the Miami Heat. We see this with Alondas Williams and a few other Miami Heat players. But again, Zion pulling out of Florida, the University of Florida. He was a pretty damn good player at Florida. He played a bunch of college ball. I believe Florida was his 5th year, his final year, where he averaged 15.5, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 33 games played. He was shooting 44.5% from the field and 44.9% from behind the three-point line, a higher percentage from behind the three-point line than from the field. This kid can shoot it. This kid can absolutely knock it down from behind the three-point line. He is 6'4", 195, so he's not as heavy. He doesn't have the biggest stature in the world, but again, 6'4", another bigger guard for the Miami Heat. Can't wait to see how this plays out. Again, I want to see if he gets time like Alondas did last season, or maybe even more frequent. I can't wait to see how it plays out. Again, I think he has a lot of promise, and I think he's going to play a great brand of basketball for the Miami Heat. And even if he doesn't get pulled up early, I think he's going to be one of those guys that absolutely just torches everybody on the G League level on that 2-way contract until he literally makes the Miami Heat pull him up, despite there being so much depth at the 1 and 2 for the Miami Heat currently. But again, we don't know how the rest of free agency is going to play out, so that could quickly change. So we'll just play it by ear when it comes to that. But for the final player, where are we? Right here, Shams on Twitter. We all know Shams Charania is. He's second biggest insider, if not the biggest insider in the game of basketball right now. He tweets this: undrafted Keyshawn Johnson of San Diego State has agreed to a 2-way NBA deal with the Miami Heat. Now, Shams put San Diego State here, and that is true. He did play for San Diego State, but I I'm pretty sure his final year in college was with Arizona. I'm pretty sure he was a teammate of Pelle Larsson's, and that was probably a large portion of why they went out and signed. Keyshawn Johnson, Keyshawn Johnson. Where I don't know where the stat went for his numbers, but again, he was a great overall player. He plays a great brand of basketball. He has more of a scoring threat. He's 6'7", a more of a power forward type of build. Still has the ability to score the basketball and play the three, if you will, if you need. But again, more of a power forward-esque type of game. He can't shoot the three-point shot, not above 40%. I'm saying that in the sense of comparing him to the other three players that we did end up selecting, as our 7-foot center is 42+% from three. Pelle Larsson, 42% plus from three, and then again Zion is 44% plus from three. So when I say he can't shoot the three-point shot, I mean he shoots in the mid-30s from the three-point shot. Overall, a good player, about 15 points per game last year. It's going to be at Arizona again, a teammate of Larsson's. It's going to be very interesting. I will say for Kellen Ware, I'm going blank now. For Kellel, where I will say the motor and the energy levels for him day in and day out, possession in, possession out, were the biggest question marks. I don't believe that is going to be the case in Miami. I believe he's going to be well adjusted by the time it comes to him playing. I wouldn't even be surprised if he was in the starting lineup by the start of the season. I genuinely think this was an A+ draft by the Miami Heat. Let me know down in the comments. Give them a letter grade for how you guys think and judge them how you guys think they did. I'm giving them an A+. Call it bias, call it whatever you want. We got two elite guards in the sense they are bigger guards. They're not 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2". These guys are 6'4" and 6'5", can play the 1 or the 2. They can handle the ball. They can facilitate. They can score from 3. They can score inside, whether it be runners, floaters, dunks, layups at the rim, finishing around defenders. We got a center to put next to Bam Adebayo, who is young, who can learn from Bam, learn from Kevin Love if he returns to the Miami Heat. We can also still go out and sign another center to play either in front of him or put alongside him, add even more good depth to the center position. I think this is overall a phenomenal draft process from the Miami Heat. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest.